All right, welcome everybody to our latest Live Motocross podcast as I'm joined by former star racer Jackson Richardson and star mechanic Ben Griffith, who's Jo Shimoda's mechanic at HRC Honda. So we finally got this one organised. It's been a fairly long time coming, but before we get cracking and welcome the lads, we'd obviously like to thank the sponsors in Fly Racing, 24MX, Dirt Store, and Fuchs Hill Clean for all their incredible support, as without them, none of this is possible. All right, firstly, we'll welcome Jats. How's life? And thanks for joining us, mate. Just made it here on the coattails from work.
Oh, mate, I tell you what, I'm glad to be here indoors talking to you, gentlemen, because, I've spent the day just absolutely just in misery. The weather has turned to shit, and I tell you what, I'm at my wit's end, so it's a sigh of relief to be here with you guys.
No, it's good to have you, mate. And obviously, welcome to you too, Ben. Obviously, it's been a while since we last spoke on the podcast format after the Motocross of Nations, where you helped the Aussies to glory there, mate. But it's been a flat out season. So, how are you, mate? Thanks for joining us.
No worries at all. Yeah, I'm good, buddy. Since Nations, it hasn't stopped, to be honest. Paris, and then getting ready for Supercross season. And then it's been a pretty wild start to the season. But hey, it is what it is. You just got to keep trucking on, right?
Yeah, mate, well said. And obviously, we'll start with you first, mate. Obviously, we've got to go back to the Nations. Obviously, you were part of that team, helping Webster and obviously the Lawrence brothers too bring home the first Aussie Motocross the Nations win. Obviously, a perfect storm for you personally, because obviously you're British. You obviously have a lot of Australian ties and have worked here and worked for the HRC Honda team that was pulling the strings over there in a lot of ways. So, awesome moment. So, just any reflections, and then Jats, just give us your take on it too, mate.
Yeah, no, Nations was great for me. Like, as we spoke about before, it was unbelievable experience. And then since then, it's been super busy. Obviously, we got back. We had to get ready, the 25 bike ready. So there's a lot of testing with that. And then we went and raced Paris. So we had to send bikes there, go there, race Paris, which it's a cool event to do. Nice little shakedown on the bike. 2 days of racing. But it's a hectic time while we're there. It's no rest at all because a lot of media press to do with the guys, obviously with the international riders and obviously the Lawrence brothers, a lot of attention on them the whole time. And then we got back from there, get ready for photo shoot, the new year, more testing. And then before we knew it, it's Christmas and we're at Anaheim lining up for A1, which obviously for us and me with Joe, it was unbelievable. Start to the season and we thought, here we go. We got it going. Joe proved a lot of people wrong. Everybody said he's not the guy that gets it going. Slow starter. We had a good day going. Unbelievable. He was comfy. He was happy. Didn't touch the bike. Obviously, as everybody knows, comes out, wins A1. And couldn't ask for a better start. Good following week. No testing for the following week because obviously we went out and won. And as everybody knows, when a rider wins, they never want to test anything. Don't touch my bike. And then obviously everybody knows what happened from then with his fingers. Unfortunate thing, but that's racing. Well, it wasn't even racing incident, but yeah, Benny got a bit fired up with that one, but it is what it is. Kept my cool somewhat. And we've been a little bit on the struggle bus since, but that's expected, and we've been getting back there slowly but surely. So hopefully when Seattle comes around in 2 weeks, we'll be near the 100%, or Joe will, I would say.
Yeah, Jats, mate. Talk about Benny's role in the Aussies winning Motocross the Nation and Shimoda, what a weapon he is battling through.
Oh, yeah. The MX of Nations this year, last year in Manly, like seeing the boys like doing what they did, and especially with Benny being a part of it, knowing Benny for a lot of years and like being at the races with him. And unfortunately, I never got the chance to work with Benny. Unfortunately, me and Benny crossed paths briefly with Serco at one point, and unfortunately, we didn't get to work together, which was a bummer because then after that, like Benny got to work for a few guys over here over the years. We got to go up against each other. And then to see like what the boys did at MX Stations this year, and especially with Benny being on the wrenches for Kyle, one of my good friends, former teammate of mine, seeing those boys working together over there and then pulling it off. First win for Australia. It was unreal. I was so pumped for the boys. I wasn't able to watch it live, but I was watching the highlights the next morning before I was getting ready to endure some pain on the hammer. And I was just so stoked for the boys. Like, to do what they did. And, Kyle stepping up because, Kyle had a pretty rough qualifying race, like got a good start and then put it down, I think.
Yeah.
And then I was just thinking, like the boys will get it together for the race. Like the boys are solid. There's a good group of guys in there. And the boys pulled it off. So I couldn't be more stoked for my guys and Benny especially knowing my guy for a long time. Like, it was awesome to see.
Yeah,
the
mate,
funny
well
bit is,
thought.
Ed, here's a funny little story for you. And I think Jackson knows this, but when I first got to know Jackson, he was riding for Penrite Honda, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, in 2015 when I came back? Oh, when I was with Wilson's that season.
Yeah, and, well, no, it's next year when you rode motocross for him. Did you ride motocross next year?
In 2015?
I can't remember. What year did you ride motocross for him?
Is this when I snapped my femur 2 laps into practice?
Huh?
Is this when I snapped my femur 2 laps into practice for your reef?
No, not then, no.
Oh.
There was one race, I can't remember where it was, but something happened, and at the time, Pete was your mechanic, Pete McAlpine, and me and Pete like kind of half got into it in the pit area about something. I can't remember what it was about, and then we're arguing, and there's actually a picture, and I'm stood up on like a stand, and Pete's down below me, and we're like not looking at each other because we've just had an argument. And that's how I like got to know who Jackson was when he first came back to Australia. And then, but the funny story is, ever since then, me and Pete have gotten like a house on fire. And then obviously I got to know Jackson and the rest of his family, and actually end up being Richie, which is your cousin, mechanic for a year. So it's funny how it all worked out like that. Like, but that's how we actually got to know each other.
Yeah. It was so crazy. Yeah, the way it come about. It was insane.
Yeah.
Good times, eh?
Yeah, good times. I had some good times down in Australia, and it's cool. Like that, I still keep in contact with a lot of people that I worked with in the past. So that's really cool.
Yeah, mate, it's good to get your opinion, and obviously, some of those tense moments back in the days, mate. Obviously, you think of Australia as your home a little bit, don't you? So you obviously love coming back when you get a chance, but it's you're all systems go in America at the moment, aren't you?
All systems go, but I always say to myself, even now, even though I'm from England, I still call Australia home to me. It just always is. One day when I don't want to do this anymore, especially now I've had my little one. One day I might move back there. You can never say never, right?
Yeah, mate. We'll get you sorted up here in Cairns.
Yeah.
We'll get you sorted up here in the Big Apple.
On the tools with you.
Yeah. Hey, mate. We could always use another bloke on the hammer up here for sure.
Oh, wild.
Dino had a crack doing Aussie Supercross on the concrete, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, you know what? That one, I was actually disappointed with that one because, Dino rocks up. I mean, I could tell the time of day. He's rocked up. The slab's already been poured. He's not on the chute. He's not on the rake in there doing the hard work. He just comes in for the glory run at the end, and and what was he on? Oh, he was
on the trowel.
He was doing the finishing, like doing a little bit of trowel work. Like he comes in, he's got the full kit on, just come fresh out of Totally Workwear with the kit on, and then next minute he's on the bull float, just doing the easiest work possible. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? I mean, this is a classic glory run. Hard work's done, and he comes in just for the glory. I couldn't believe it.
Sounds
just
like
like call him out on that one.
Unreal.
Yeah. And he's down there in Melbourne where it's cold. He's not up here in Cairns sweating his ring out because I've had to do that shit before. And I tell you what, it is not concreting, not for the faint-hearted.
Definitely not.
I tell you what, because I did a bit of my apprenticeship before I completely went pro in motocross, and then I put my apprenticeship on hold. The last job I did before I went pro full-time and was riding full-time, I was concreting my driveway. That's about a kilometre long. It's almost a kilometre long. And I was out there in the trenches with these concreters helping them. And I tell you what, that pretty much was the motivation for me to succeed in motocross because I was working out there with them in summer. And I was like, I tell you what, I do not want to be doing this for the rest of my life. I really need to put in the hard yards. But it turns out I ended up only delaying it about 10 years or so while I was racing because I'm fucking back here now doing it.
we need to see some YouTube uploads of you back on the conch life. That's for sure.
Oh, man. I tell you what, the boys would fucking execute me on site if I had someone filming me doing work. I should start doing TikToks and that, being on the job and just get sledgehammered over the head by one of the tradesmen.
You should just get an Insta 360 camera, tape it to yourself on a pole, and just walk around all day.
Oh, I tell you what, some of the stuff we say on the job site, I'll be thrown in prison if that footage ever gets released.
Oh, my God.
I'll probably get executed. Far out.
You're definitely not harboring any returns to racing, though, are you, mate?
No, definitely not. That ship has definitely sailed. There is every point now and again where I think I'm like, you know what? Watching the Soupy on the weekend, I'm like, damn, that looks good. And then I just think all I got to do is just look at myself in the mirror without a shirt on, and then I'm like, nah, you ain't coming back, brother. You might. Maybe I'd have to probably do a cycle of Ozempic, and then I could probably look at getting back on the horse then. Because let me tell you, I've got a cement bag on the front of me at the moment, and it just wouldn't work out. I'd be too big for the 450, let me tell you.
Oh, my word.
Well, while we're talking about riding, mate, how's the club local stuff going, Ben? Has it taken off, mate? Plenty of people interested, no doubt, including Jats?
Right now, it's slowed right down because I'm so busy with work. I can't do it all. To be honest, I did have a German lad called Nico Kosch come over, and he done what did he do? San Diego, A2, and Glendale, and he actually qualified straight up for San Diego. But the funny bit is he came over here, got the bike and the van and everything off of me, and he sent all his stuff over, an engine from Germany, suspension, a heap of other stuff, ECU. Put the engine in the bike. They went to Hemet to test. Bike wouldn't start.
Oh.
They don't know why, and I still don't know why. But he rings me in a panic. I'm at work, and he's like, "What do I do?" I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, bud. Like, he's like, "Can I use your engine?" I said, "Yeah, like you can use it, but it's gonna be like there's a fee involved." And he's like, "Yeah, I've come all this way. I can't not do it." So I gave him my engine and one of my Vortex ECUs, and I just played with it a little bit. And he went and raced San Diego Supercross. Now, Jackson will appreciate how hard this is. Full stock engine on race fuel and ECU, and he made the main event.
That is wild.
And people don't realize that. And if you go back and watch it, the LCQ, he nearly whole shots it. I actually think he might whole shot it. I can't remember. But he qualified for his first ever try at Supercross on my bike with a completely stock motor. That is impressive. I don't care what anyone says.
Oh, man. He is far out. The respect I got for him, I respect him just for getting in the main, but to have all that happen and end up doing it on a stock bike and making the 250 main. 450 main you can get away with racing a fairly stock bike, like motor-wise, but a 250, that is insane, dude.
And then at Glendale, he's in the LCQ for the race. I didn't go to Glendale because my son was supposed to be born that weekend, so someone filled in for me. But I'm at home watching it, and if I remember, he was battling the Australian Brad West for the final transfer spot, and he's going through the whoops, and he goes to pass him, but it's what he doesn't realise is he didn't have to pass him to get in the main, and he crashed his last lap. And, he crashed last lap, and he didn't make the main event on his last try. But I was still like, for a German kid to come over here straight off his own back, his own money, everything. He only got given a set of Max's tyres each event. To do that, I was like, hats off to him. Like, that's impressive.
So much respect for the dude. Yeah, that's wild. I had no idea. This is the stuff people need to hear about. Stuff like
exactly. This is what people don't hear about. But
this is what they don't. This is what they don't realize. Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't see the hard. They don't see the hard stuff, the stress during the. I'd imagine he was peaking during the week. I know I would have been.
Oh, going into this thing.
Oh,
yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, he bowled my van and he drove everywhere in it, and he had the time of his life. He loved it. He wants to come back next year and try it again. So I said I'll try and help him again next year. Like, I've got to be careful because obviously work is a bit of a conflict of interest, but I just like to see people come from overseas and have a crack at it. And when they do what they like he done through my little company, Club Locals, it's pretty impressive.
Oh, dude. Oh, yeah. It's so awesome. So awesome to see.
Yeah.
Sure, awesome to see chasing the dream and making it happen. And obviously, while you mentioned work, obviously the HRC boys, they've had a bit of a rough year with both Lauren's brothers getting injured, Joe having his injuries. Obviously, Chance didn't exactly come in at peak fitness either, mate. So how's it all been for you personally, the other mechanics, Cam, Christian? Obviously, Lars is running the show. You blokes, we've spoken in a previous podcast about it's like the no stone unturned approach, mate. You guys are putting in the hours, putting in the work to get these guys the best, I guess, infrastructure to succeed. So has it been a bit of a tough year, mate? You're still showing up and putting in the work, though, no doubt.
Well, we still got to obviously show up and put the work in, you know what I mean? And especially for me, Joe's still been racing, obviously, but obviously not riding during the week. And he lives in Florida now. But with his injury, he stayed in California and was having treatment on his hand. So he wasn't riding in the week. He was just getting treatment pretty much every day and just racing on the weekends. So, yeah, that's been tough for us. Obviously, first race coming out winning, and then every week it's just been harder. It was hard, and then it's just got a little easier as it's gone along. But, like, I remember when we went to A2 after San Diego, went out for practice, and he only done like 2 laps because he was in so much pain. And then we went out for qualifying, he only done 3 laps. And then he went out next qualifying, he only done 4. And he only just done it just to get time so he could get in the heat races. So, yeah, but it is what it is. That's racing. Chance had a tough start to it, but I feel like he's really starting to come around now. Like Daytona, he was impressive. The weekend in Indy, he had a bit of a tough run at it, and then he had that big crash in the main. But he'll be fine. He's young. He's hungry for it. He's got the speed. He's maturing. He's got a good head on his shoulders. He's got good people around him. And then obviously everybody knows what happened, Hunter and Jet. It's unfortunate. But, hey, when you're at the top, like we all was a couple of years ago, you got to enjoy it because it just shows it can be taken away from you just that fast, But the good bit is the boys are, especially the brothers, they're upbeat and they found other stuff to do to occupy themselves. So when they come back, I think, especially Hunter, I think he's going to be even more hungry to prove himself. Like, Jats knows what Hunter's like. That guy is like, people don't realize he's got a never say die kind of attitude, So I think when they come back, they'll come out pretty much swinging. And obviously the team's working hard to make the bike better, develop stuff for outdoors. So it's been good in that way. We can catch up on a few things because you go from one week to the next and you travel, you work, you travel, you work. You do, not saying you get behind, but you get stagnant with stuff. So you can't develop stuff the way you want because it's every week here, especially the 450 class. They don't stop.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be fine. It's just all part of racing dirt bikes. It's not if you get injured, it's when you get injured, isn't it, really?
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly right. And I've always told people, if you make it through a full season of, especially of AMA, Supercross, Motocross, if you make it through a full season without getting some sort of injury, you got to be the luckiest guy on the planet to make it through a full. Because think about all the time on the bike, not just the racing, just all the time during the week, the testing, practice. Every time you go out there, it's like there's always some chance you're going home in the back of an Ambo.
Oh,
so sure.
Yeah.
Not much room for error, that's for sure, mate. And obviously,
No, not at all. And that's the thing, like, because we work like from the mechanic standpoint as well. Obviously, we have race bikes and we have practice bikes. So for us, we got to be very much on top of it with everything, like hours of stuff when stuff times out, make sure it's replaced. And because at the end of the day, us as a mechanic, if we make a mistake, we're taking the earnings away from a rider. Whereas a mechanic, we can still work for another 20 years. But a rider's only got 10, let's be real, 10 to 15 years of their career where they can make their really good money. So if a mechanic is not on the ball and they make a mistake and it affects a rider, that's why, it's on us as much as it's on them as well. So it's tough for our end, but that's why we do it, I guess, isn't it? And that's why good riders, they have a mechanic that they trust and they take them from one place to another, you know?
Yeah. Build that trust, mate. You've obviously got that with Shimoda year 2, obviously getting more comfortable, all the terms you use, and it's all pretty streamlined now. You're happy with how it's going?
Yeah, me and Joe get on really well, actually. It is obviously, I don't know if people seen, there was a little interview he done the other day and he's talking about me, about how I talk.
Yeah, and, about the lever.
Yeah, did you see that?
Yeah, I've seen that one.
Mate, I
was saying, you would have struggled with that one for sure.
Oh, yeah, but we still have moments like that. I even messaged him. I said, hey, I call him Joe son. I'm like, hey, Joe son, like, lucky we get along now and you understand me. He's like, yeah, lucky now we do. But at the time I didn't. Like, we laugh about stuff like that now. And but he's good. I enjoy working with him. He's it is hard at times, without a doubt, but working with Jackson would be hard. I mean, you could never take this man seriously. Let's be real. Like, you know what I mean? I remember rolling up on a start gate with Wilson Todd, and I'm battling with a championship with Jackson, and he's cracking jokes. I'm like, Wilson, don't listen to him. Just don't listen to him. You know what I mean? It's just like every rider is different. You just got to work out how they work. I mean, Wilson Todd was like a mute. He barely even spoke. And then I had Jackson chewing his ear off next to me, you know? So, but no, it's all part of the process. And I enjoy working with him. He's a good kid.
Yeah, he's coming on. Well, was there a bit of sledging going on there, Jats? Or you were just running the loose program? You weren't banging your chest or anything like that?
There was definitely no shit talking on my end, really. I was always just cracking jokes and all that because, well, I definitely wouldn't be willing to talk shit to anyone because one thing I did learn over the years was I don't need to give anyone any more motivation to beat me, to beat me at all, because I know these guys can just come out and whoop my ass at any given second. But yeah, for me, it was more like I was like chatty for the most part on the gate, just cracking jokes and all that, because that's just what kept me loose more than anything. I hated sitting there thinking about it. And because most of the times, and I did this for most of my career, I would always overthink stuff instead of just going out there and like just doing my own thing. I would just always overthink stuff. That was probably a hinder to my career for the most part. And luckily I had Pete there with me for most of it because he always kept me loose. Me and him would always talk shit on the gate, nothing about the race. And yeah, that was just my go-to. But yeah, everyone's different. Like, yeah, Wilson, for instance, you couldn't get a word out of him. You barely get a word out of him in conversation, usually away from the track. And then on the gate, the boy's just locked in at all times.
Yeah. But I never forget 20. When did you and him battle for the title? 17.
That was 2017.
I remember Jim Boomber's Supercross, full mud race. We should have had jet skis. It was that wet. You remember that?
Worst race ever.
I think you went into the championship with a 4-point lead or something.
I think it was a 4-point lead from memory going into that last one.
Over Wilson. And I remember sitting on the start line and it was like a banner, a stanchion above us, and we were stood under him, and I'm holding Wilson's bike. Pete's got yours. And I remember you two are stood out on the gates looking at him, and me and Pete are like, well, this is it, Pete. It's up to them from here. And he's like, fucking Jackson. I know how he is in the fucking mud. He's fucking shit. He was talking loads of crap. I'll never forget it.
Me off.
He was absolutely writing you off. I'll never forget it. And I'm just dying laughing. I remember you turning around looking at us, and there's a picture of all four of us stood together. I've got it somewhere. And then Wilson actually gets a better start, crashes, and you beat him. You end up winning the title. It was still cool. But I always remember, because I was working for DPH, and I was around the back of the truck. Now, let's be real. Everybody knew DPH knew how to party after the race, win or lose.
Yeah, big time.
And I remember Jackson wins, and I'm watching the bike, and he comes over, and I think you come over with a bottle of Sailors or something.
Yeah.
And you're like, Benny, we're having a drink. And Pete comes over and he films us, and me and you are like drinking Sailors. And that was the best bit about like a lot of the relationships in Australia. Win or lose, everybody got along, had a drink together. And it's memories like that makes it worth all the while.
100%. Oh, yeah. That day was wild. I actually remember in qualifying because Wilson had the fastest lap.
Yeah.
And I remember there was the one good gate on the inside. I actually was putting in a good fast lap at the end. This is when the track was not completely fucked yet, so you could still jump everything.
Yeah.
And I was putting together a heater. And I don't know if I would have got the fastest lap or not, but I was on a heater, and I remember binning it on that lap. And then qualifying finished, I come in, and I'm just throwing the helmet. I'm throwing everything at this point because I know, because Wilson, during that year, Wilson, he went 1-1 at Horsham. Remember that 1-1 at Horsham?
Oh, there's a funny story about that.
Full mudder that one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember him going 1-1 there, and I was like, "Oh, I'm fucked. He's gonna put a lap down on me in this race. He's got the best gate. He's gonna get the start. I'm gonna be mid-pack. I'm like, I've just fucking thrown this championship in the fucking bin."
Yeah.
And then it was crazy. It was that first lap where we actually started together, and it was like you said, Benny, just full jet ski spec out there. You just go.
The start straight was just completely underwater.
Track in between every rhythm, the bike was going under. I needed to put a snorkel on the thing to get through this thing. And I just remember we were just going at it, and I was like, I've got to get in front of him right now. I got to get in front of him now. And then unfortunately he went down, and I
think he jumped off the track and nearly went in the crowd, if I remember rightly.
Oh yeah, actually, I tell you one thing about that one. I binned it on the first lap too. I went down, and I'm panicking getting up, and I went down, and I landed like in the splits. Like my leg got caught under the bar, and I did the splits, and I remember like tweaking my I think it's your abductor or your groin anyway. It was like in your groin. My groin has not been the same since that night. I still feel that tip over to this day. And then I was lucky. I was fortunate to come out on top that night, but the championship was okay. But it was just like after it, just celebrating with well, not really celebrating with all the boys. It's just going over like after it's all done. Like Benny said, it was because I respect Benny and Wilbur as well. Wilbur's one of my good mates, and I didn't want to go over there rub it in the face or anything. Just go over there, have a beer with the boys. The championship doesn't matter. It's just at the end of the day, it's racing with your mates. That was one of my funnest seasons. Just going back and forth with Wilbur and Benny each weekend.
Oh, it was a good Supercross season. I remember it. Another race that was good. I think it was Adelaide. Remember, it was super windy.
Yeah. Oh.
And they had the fast lap shootouts.
Yes.
And you Wilson and who was the other guy? Was Jacob Hayes there that year?
Oh, I think this is the year before Jacob Hayes came over.
Oh, was it? But I remember it's super windy, and you just went at it the whole race. Wilson came out on top that night.
Yeah.
And I just always remember because the the finish, went over the finish. It was a fast straightaway, and you come right towards the pit area. And me and Pete are like clambering over each other, trying to like get the boards in front of each other, and we just laughing the whole time. I'll never forget that one.
Oh, that was a good one. We duked it out that night. Actually, funny story about Pete was a year later. This is when you were wrenching for Richie.
Oh yeah.
And this is Mafra round 1, and I'm in like 5th or something. Richie's behind me. I was struggling that day big time. Like I had the anchor out, and I knew Rich was coming because I could see Benny swinging off the pit board beside Pete. And then this is what Pete does. He goes, he rides on the pit board 1 lap. Richie is coming. And then 1 lap later, Rich passed me, like before we got to the mechanics area, and Pete's got on the pit board. Richie is gone. Like a way to kill the boys' confidence mid-moto, eh?
But I can just imagine Pete on the pit board writing it, laughing like, fuck him.
Yeah.
Just put it out.
And then he stopped putting the pit board out, and then I overheard him. Someone was like to him, "Oh, Pete, I see you didn't put the pit board out for the rest of the motor." He said, "There was nothing I was going to put on that pit board that was going to make this cunt go."
Yeah, that sounds exactly like the type of thing you would say as
Oh,
well.
such a classic. That's probably my favorite Pete story. Like the whole time we worked together. That's got to be my best one.
Yeah, that sounds like him for sure.
Oh, big time.
You had a story from Horsham too, Benny?
Oh, yeah, Horsham.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that race, Jats?
Oh, do I ever? It was a mud fest.
Unbelievable. So this is the even funnier story. DPH days, I remember night before, we all goes out drinking. Me, Boyd, Big Quinn, Piney, couple others, hammered. I'll never forget this, hammered. I remember being sat on the start line for practice. Sun's coming up. I'm like, ugh, head's rocking. I'm nearly being sick. Anyway, Wilson goes out there and practice. I don't think he qualified fastest. I think...
he did.
Harwood.
I swear Wilbur had the fastest lap because there was one good gate on the inside, the very inside, and he had it.
But we went to the inside because I said, when you jump out, turn right and get straight on the grass.
Yes.
Because it was boggy. Because you remember Horsham has got the drop gate.
Yeah.
And I was like, jump off the gate, turn right and just get on the grass.
Yeah.
But before the race, I remember Alan, Wilson's dad, calls me and he's like, you need to put this sprocket on the bike. I'm like, Alan, no. He's like, 100%. Get that sprocket on the bike. I'm telling you now, it will make the bike work better. And I'm thinking about it. And I'm like, he's kind of got... What
sprocket did he want to run?
I think we ran like a 1350 and he wanted like 1348.
Oh, shit.
I might be wrong. It was something wild.
Yeah.
For the way our bike was set up.
Yeah.
Anyway, I go to the team. I'm like, I want to put a 48 on it. They're like, no way. I said, listen, this is why. They're like, it's not happening. I said, listen, his dad's called me. It sounds nuts. I said, but if there's anybody that knows their son best, it's his dad. And Alan's he's a smart man. He's pretty smart when it comes to setting Wilson's bike up. I said, let me put it on. If it don't work, it's on me. I'll take it on my head.
Yeah.
And I never forget it. Jax will back me up here. He comes out whole shots of first moto and he lapped up to third.
Yeah. Dominated
He was like 2 seconds a lap faster than anybody. And then he won the second race. I think he lapped up to fifth, but it dried out a lot. Yeah. And he was like, it was unbelievable. And he went 1-1 that day, and there was no one that was getting near him. Whole shot, both motos, jumps out straight to the grass, down the inside. It was, that was a cool story. But the whole day I was so hungover, so bad. And everybody else was. And I was like, that just brings me back to my good times at DPH. That was some of my best years of mechanicking working for that team, Boyd and and Quinny and Piney. We had some good times there, that's for sure.
Yeah, bloody oath.
Yeah.
Obviously, with the Wonthaggi opener of Pro MX coming up this weekend, what are some of your blokes' Wonthaggi memories as well?
Jackson, you ridden Wonthaggi much or not?
Yeah, I rode there. I think I raced there twice. Yeah, I got 4th overall in 2017. I'm pretty sure Wilbur won the first round that year. In 2017.
Yeah, he did. You're right. Yeah, because that was the year Serco fired him, and then I was with him at DPH. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, he won that.
So there was 2017. I think I got 4th overall that day. Then the next year it was like the 3rd round, and that weekend at the 3rd round is when I got my 4th shoulder reconstruction after that one. Because second moto, I landed off some jump there, and I already had a buggered shoulder from when I was in America, and then it went out. And after that one, that's when I got my 4th shoulder reconstruction after that one.
Damn.
Yeah. So I had good memories and bad memories of that joint. The two times I went there.
Yeah, I got some good memories of there. Obviously, with Wilson in 17, 18 I was with Richie. One cool year I was there, I was with Empire Kawasaki in 19, and I can't remember. Someone got hurt, and they brought Boppin back. Do you remember that? And
yeah.
he rode the Kawasaki, and he got his sickness, and he thought he was over it. And we took him testing I'm going to take maybe 2 days. And we put Boppo on the bike, dude. And if I remember rightly, he led 25 minutes of the first moto. Typical Boppo style. Stood up, cruising. Then his sickness came back.
Yeah.
As Jax would say, anchor went out the back door. Yeah. Rest is history.
Oh, Boppo. What a classic he is.
What a guy on a motorcycle.
Oh, so much talent on the bike.
Sickening how much talent that man had.
God, if he could have stayed completely healthy. Oh God.
Especially riding Supercross. You remember going to Supercross? And I remember that year he rode for the year he rode for DPH. You remember that year?
Yeah,
on the 450, how good he was?
Yeah.
And you would get all the good guys. It was Reardon, Brayton. And I remember his technique through the whoops was just...
he could murder a set of whoops. That
unbelievable.
Guy.
He was cool to watch, and he's a cool dude as well.
And he would always be he was like the Stu of Australia, basically. He would always be the one to bust out the big shit.
Yeah. It would kind of make me mad because he would do it so simply, so smooth and elegantly, and you'd be like, why isn't this guy winning? Come on, just pull it together.
I know. Oh, far out. He should probably have a championship for how good he is.
100%.
At least a Soupy championship, eh?
Yeah. It's just his sickness held him back over the years. That's all
big time. Yeah.
But that time at Wonthaggi, though, when he come out, I don't think he whole shotted it, but he was right there, and he was sat there just for 25 minutes. I'm like, he's going to come out and win this. It's nothing. And then suddenly the fucking chicken wings come down and it was over.
Oh, fire. He won an overall at Coolum one year, I remember. Oh, it was when he was at DPH in 2015.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think he went 1-3 or 1-2 at Coolum and got the overall there. This is when Coolum was they had 2 races there, one mid-season and one at the last round.
Yeah, 15. I would have been with Serco in 15.
Yeah.
We did have 2 races that year. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. This was, and then that Subi season is when I came back to Oz, and after that I raced in Oz full time. Because I came back for that 2015 series. That was when I was with Wilson's.
Yeah, I do remember that.
And then at the last round, me and Boppo won the 450. I won the 250 that night.
Where was the last round that year in 15?
Oh, man. What is the name of the place? It was at some soccer field in the hood.
Oh, in Melbourne.
Yeah, it was in
It
Melbourne.
was at night. It was at Night Stadium, and it was rock hard,
Yes.
like
Yeah.
red clay. And was that the one
Dusty
Wilsey?
shit.
Was
I
that the
think
one
they had
Wilsey was
duct tape
leading?
holding the grandstands together.
Wilsey was leading it, wasn't he? And something
Yeah,
out on his
Wilsey
bike.
was leading it. I went down first corner and came from last, made my way up, and his shock bolt came out.
Oh,
Yeah, and then he went back, and then I ended up coming through, stealing the win, Bradbury style. That's my career in a nutshell. Everything was
100%.
Everything was just handed to me on a silver platter.
Good times.
I just had to show up, basically.
Well, that's what happened in 16, wasn't it, with you?
Oh yeah,
I
16,
was
big
stood
time.
in the stands that night. Just got fired from Serco. I'm there watching Jackson just fucking pull off a title. I'm like, oh yeah, that's bloody nice. That is.
Yeah.
Never forget that one.
Oh yeah, all right. What a night that one was.
Hey, them original Oz X's at Sydney though, they were fun.
Oh,
They were some good times. Good racing.
I have said they need to go back to Sydney.
Unbelievable.
That place was even though the track was small, you couldn't have like a full Supercross gate. The way they built the tracks in there were fucking awesome.
No, but the best bit about it was for me is where they jumped out the stadium and then they disappeared.
Yeah.
And I know you could watch it on the big screen, but there was like a tension built up for when they popped out and hit the whoops.
Yeah.
Like the year that Reed and Coop were there.
Yeah.
I remember Coop passed him like last second. Reed got him through the whoops.
Oh, yes.
And then he got him double before the finish. Oh, like.
Yeah, that was that first year,
couple
I think.
years. Huh?
That was that first year in 2015 when they, like, the first AusX Open they had.
Yeah, that one.
Oh, it was epic.
So good.
Oh, yeah. And they had the proper pits set up. It's not like at Melbourne now where it's like all the pits are underground. There's no like pit atmosphere.
No, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. Like the riders just got to come out, sit at a table for whatever autograph session. You can't go in and sit. Oh, you got to get VIP to get it. But it's like you're in an underground car park, basically.
Yeah, I've been there. I've done a couple of races there. Yeah, I know what it's like. It's definitely not the same atmosphere as when it was in Sydney. Not at all.
Oh, yeah. And it's rubbish to get into when you're racing there, too. Like, you got to be backed up in a single lane, drop all your shit off. Oh, it's a nightmare to get in and out of.
Yeah. Sure is.
Yeah. Like, the track's good. The track's about the only thing that's good about racing there. Everything else to me there is rubbish.
Yeah. Fair enough. Get that.
As a rider, anyway.
Are we going to get Shimoda out?
I'm stoked to go there and get absolutely buckled.
Are we? Oh, yeah. Are we going to get Shimoda out? I would love to get him over there. I've told him he needs to go and do it.
I'd love to see Shimoda out here for the AusX.
Hey, let me tell you, if I come down there with Joe, Jackson wouldn't be getting on a Jetstar plane. He'd be getting Qantas straight down to Melbourne. He ain't missing that flight.
I'll be on the first flight down there.
You'll be going to Brisbane to pick up Pete straight down.
Oh yeah. Don't worry. I'll be locking in some dates to go to a few soupy rounds when the dates come out. Anyway.
Yeah. No, I like it. I went back last year and watched Brisbane. That was cool.
You went to Redcliffe last year, eh?
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. That's what I'm keen to go to this year. I'm hoping they do the 2-day there again. I'll go down to that one and then probably AusX.
Yeah.
And then Adelaide's your favourite.
Oh yeah. Well, I got to sneak Adelaide in too.
I might never come back. I wonder why that's your favourite.
Oh, Adelaide. God, that place that has got a special spot in my heart. Adelaide.
That's got good and bad memories in every type of way, that place.
Oh, big time. Oh, God. The carnage that went down on Hindley Street there over the years. Holy shit. But Wade's still got a photo of Wade's dad, Cliffy, leaned up against the railing at the airport the day after we'd gone to the woolshed all night and just went straight from woolshed to the airport.
Oh, Cliffy. Unbelievable, man.
That place. I might be doing a full season by the sounds of it. I'll just be media guy this season.
You may have to do your 6 days away.
yeah, I know. I'm gonna have to be using up the rest of my leave too, I reckon, because I'm going over to Europe soon.
Oh Jesus! You better put the warning in now to let them know you're coming.
Yeah, big time. Oh, don't worry, 100%. I will be.
Wow. That's awesome, mate. Well, I think it's midnight over there for you, Benny, mate. So any final thoughts? And obviously, yeah, just great to have you on. Great to hear you and Jats just chatting. It's been awesome to hear the stories, mate. It's absolute gold. So any final thoughts for you first, Benny, and then Jats, you go afterwards?
For me, it's just back in the grind now. Back in starting to get ready for outdoors, believe it or not. Get outdoor bikes ready. Start preparations to start testing for outdoors. Then we got Seattle. We got some big races coming up. We got Seattle. Then we got Philly, another East-West shootout. Then Denver. Then last East-West shootout at Salt Lake. And then obviously after that, we have 2 weekends off and we go straight into Parla. And then it's 11 weekends. And then, from here, it's for anybody who watches the races, you'll see me just at the races with the kid. And we're trying to get some momentum back on our side and show the boy what we can really do. It's funny because as I'm sat here now, I'm looking at Jo Shimoda sent me a poster of me and Joe on the podium from A1. So I got that in my office here at home. It's always cool to look at. So yeah, just a normal grind for me. Hopefully, see how my season goes. I'd like to get back down to Australia with the little man and the wife and see this young thug of Jackson Richardson and some of the people back there. It's always good to come down there and see some old friends and faces. I really do enjoy being down there, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, going off of what Benny was saying, I mean, look, I'll be getting back into the grind this week as well, but I tell you what, I think I've got it hard, but don't worry, I've got to be over there and witness what these factory mechanics go through. And let me tell you, these boys are seriously doing the dirt. Because I got to, especially when I first moved over to America, going to a couple of races and I'd come in from the Nationals. I'm barely getting the wind back in the lungs. This is like 30 minutes after. And these boys have already got the bikes torn down. Then I would stay at the hotel that some of these guys would be staying at. Then they're out there the next day, still tearing stuff down, going through everything. And especially with the amount of races they're doing now, because they're doing 31 races during a year. God, the amount of time these guys are putting in, not only on the weekends, being away from their families, everything like that, but when they come home, man, these boys put in some serious work. And to see Benny, especially knowing him for years, I know where he's come from and what he's done and what kind of guy he is. And to see him over there having the success that he has now with Joe and all the boys, I can't be more pumped for you, mate. Yeah.
No, I really appreciate that. We've had some good times over the years, Jack, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It's always cool, even when we do well as a team or even with the brothers, when they do well, I always do get a lot of messages from guys back in Australia, which I really do appreciate more than people realize. I don't get back to everybody, but I get back to as many people as I can, and it's always good. It's always nice when people congratulate us, and that's why when I'm down there, I try and hang out with people and always try and come and say hi. It's always a good one. But I just like to see Jackson when I see it. He's sending me the old picture here and there, and he's on the old conch life, and he's on the tools. I'm like, from where I knew the boy to where he is now, I never put him there, but I back it 100%.
Oh, yeah. Benny's got to see me at my highest, and now he's seeing me at my lowest.
100%, mate. That's for sure. Hey, at least you're doing it, though, and you're hey, most people just be oh, they'll try and do this or that in the industry, and you're you know what? I'm cutting it off. I ain't riding a bike. I'm doing a 9 to 5. 5-6 days a week, and I'm hitting some golf balls on the weekend, and that's my life now, and I love it, and I respect that big time, because a lot of people that get into this industry, they find it very hard to step away from it, especially with the level that you raced at,
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, a lot of guys struggle with it when they leave, because racing's just everything to them, and it's their identity, really.
Yeah.
And then, when it all comes to an end, which, and it eventually does. And like a lot of guys struggle with that second bar, but I always knew what I was going back to anyway. It probably come a little sooner than what I was hoping, but at the end of the day, I'm happy with it. Just being a cog in the machine.
That's all you are, buddy.
Yeah, just got to be a cog in the machine, and there's nothing wrong with it.
You just keep grinding them cogs. That's all I can say, brother.
I'm grinding them big time. There's no teeth left on this sucker.
Absolutely done. Awesome.
Oh, that's awesome. No, it's been a ripper podcast, lads, and I reckon, Jats, you're probably making better money than most blokes in the moto industry, so that's one thing you got up.
Hey, don't worry. That's one good thing is, you know what? Now I'm going to work, and at least I don't have the thought of I won't be going home in the back of an Ambo today, so that's always good. It's good to have money coming in each and every week, which is also nice. And then, yeah, I'm building my own place at the moment, so yeah, that's a good start for me.
Get on. Awesome.
It's been a ripper chat, lads. Really appreciate you coming on. We'll have to do it again soon. And obviously, before we wrap up, big thanks to the sponsors in Fly Racing, 24MX, Dirt Store, and Fuchs Silkaleen. All right, that's been the latest Live Motocross podcast with Jackson Richardson and Ben Griffith. We'll catch up soon, lads, and have a good one.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
All right, have a good one.